Boxing King Media in association with Boxer. Delighted to have with me finally on Zoom the former heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker. Joe, it's great to speak to you. Firstly, how are you? How are the family?
I am fantastic, and the family's well. I'm currently in England, so my family's back in New Zealand, and I do miss them, but it's nice to be here, nice to be in training camp and to prepare for whatever's next.
Yeah, I mean, what is next for Joseph Parker? You know, we spoke just a little bit off camera there. You're 31, relatively young for someone who's in the heavyweight division. Heavyweights generally go on to their kind of late 30s. I know you've been in some tough fights. You've been around for a long time, but ultimately, what does Joseph Parker still want to achieve in boxing?
Listen, I want to achieve a lot. I know I can operate at the top level. It was just about finding balance and what works for me as a fighter. And I know I've been in the game for a long time, been professional for over 10 years now. And, after the last fight, I feel like I've been training quite hard back in New Zealand, and I've been doing a lot of good work with George Lockhart in terms of weights and conditioning. And now that I'm here in England, I'll be linking up with Andy soon to do a bit of boxing, or to do the boxing phase of things. And I feel like I got a lot more to give because I finally found a bit of balance. Listen, it sounds crazy after 10 years, but I have found a bit of balance. And um, yeah, just more. I'm training hard, but I'm getting more rest. I'm eating good food. But all of this is just talk unless I show it in the ring. So I need a lock in the fight to show it.
What's your current promotional situation? Obviously, I know you've done stuff with, you went over to Frank Warren show to fight Joe Joyce. You've done stuff with Eddie and Boxer recently as well. What is your promotional situation?
There's it's not. I'm not signed with anyone at the moment, so it's just a matter of whatever opportunity comes around, and we'll take it. I'm just looking for any fight. Anyone in the top 10, top 15 who's keen to fight, any promoter who wants to put on, I'm there, and I'll take it with both hands.
Are there any particular names? I know you said top 10, top 15, but are there any particular names that you want? Is it obviously you want to maximize your earnings, but is it the titles as well? I know they're quite held up at the moment with obviously Usyk and Fury at the moment, but what is the ultimate goal for Joseph Parker?
But
If
listen, I want to be champion. Like there's no other reason why I'm in boxing. I want to be champion of the world again. Obviously, it is held up at the top, and it does. There's a lot of competition, tough competitors in the heavyweight division, but I know what I can do, and it's just a matter of locking in fights and being busy and climbing.
Just want to go back to last week, Joe, because it's still quite kind of fresh. Anthony Joshua against Robert Helenius. Just open question: what do you make of Anthony Joshua's performance?
So there was a late replacement, and I'm not sure what kind of sparring that they were doing to prepare for Dillian White. Obviously, not anyone taller like Helenius, but for him to accept the fight, the late replacement, and make a few adjustments, it was good for him to get the KO. And it wasn't, a lot of people saying it wasn't the best performance, and it wasn't as exciting as his other fights. And don't worry, I've been involved in many fights that weren't exciting, but the main thing is he got the knockout and he's ready for the next fight.
I mean, a lot of people have criticized Anthony Joshua about his performance, that he's not performing or getting rid of his opponents like he used to. Terms like he's gun shy, but ultimately with his link up with Derek James, do you think we're seeing a different style, a different change to way Anthony Joshua fights? Maybe.
Um, it, it- Linking up with a different trainer, it does take time to gel and to try and put into place what you're working on and what you're practicing in the gym. So maybe that's what he's trying to do. I'm not quite sure, but ultimately, it's just good to get the knockout and get the win, and so he can move on to the next challenge.
Obviously, the individual that was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, your former opponent Dillian White, failed a VADA test as there was an adverse finding. I know there's been quite a bit of it in the UK for UK fighters recently, and more recently, Elisa Bongana last week. But when you
Yeah.
heard about Dillian, what was your reaction?
Just listen. I've seen a statement come out from Dillian, and it's just I got a real comment to comment on it. Like I'm not. You're never really too sure what's happening behind the scenes, whether he did fail a test or not, or it did it was reported that he did fail the test. So you can only go off the reports. But you know, I know that he's trying to clear his name and fight against what's been reported.
I mean, yeah, like you said, that do we have to give him the opportunity to go through that process,
Yeah,
prove his innocence, but it has obviously happened to him multiple times before as well. But generally, is it disappointing that we've had over the last year or so with the whole Conor Ben stuff, Dylan White, at least from Ghana, do we need some sort of control and unity within everyone in boxing, promoters and governing bodies, to have a neutral process that everyone follows?
I think so. I think that something has to be done because there's a lot more findings nowadays, you know. But again, I can't really say anything on the fighters. Like they're going through a tough time and a hard time trying to argue their case. So until it's all done, then we can't really say much. So I'll just keep out of that.
I mean, you're in the gym, you're training. I'm guessing you're there with Tyson Fury. I have seen some clips. He's preparing himself to fight Francis Ngannou. What are your thoughts about this, Joe? And I know you've said to me in the past you'll never fight Fury, but because he's a friend and a brother of yours, and you're going to back him. But as a boxing man, him fighting Francis Ngannou at this stage of his career, what are your thoughts?
um, it's listen, it's quite it's a different one because Francis is he was in the UFC and now he's come over to boxing, and you know Tyson's the champion of the world, so it's quite a when it was announced, everyone thought, oh, you know what's happening here, but you know the fight is going ahead on the 20th of October, and if I can't get a fight anytime soon, hopefully I can be on the card, and I think it's just going to be a great event. I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of people are saying that the fight should be fighting someone in the top 10 or Usyk or Josh or whatever it is, but I think he's just doing whatever he wants to do, you know?
Also, the reverse of that, Joe, is it also fair to say that I know Tyson's had a lot of criticism about taking this fight, but is it also fair to say that if any other fighter, including yourself or Anthony Joshua, anybody else, was offered 40 million pounds, dollars, what is reported, no one's going to walk away from that, are they?
Listen, I'll fight anyone. If they're offering me, listen, firstly, I just want to fight because I haven't had a fight in a while now, and I just want to get in the ring and fight. But if they offer that money to any fighter, I will bet that no one will turn it down. Like everyone will take it. You know, fighting is about everyone wants to be a champion and everyone wants to make good money and everyone wants to look after their family. So I think it'll be whoever turns it down. I don't think anyone will turn it down.
Whenever Tyson steps in the ring, everybody knows how great Tyson is of a fighter. Ngannou was dominant in his support. This is completely different for Ngannou because he can't kick, he can't grapple, he can't take you to the ground, he can't choke you. But what chances do you give him? Do you give him any chance, realistically?
Realistically, a lot of people say there's no chance because he's not a natural fighter. But one thing about Ngannou is that when I was training in Vegas with Kevin Barry and we're doing a lot of sparring in the UNLV gym, he was always there sparring top fighters. So he has a background of doing a lot of boxing training and boxing sparring. Um, so I'm not quite sure what to expect from Ngannou. And he's got Mike Tyson backing him. So listen, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, what have you made of that? Mike Tyson training him. You got Tyson Fury, who was named after Mike Tyson. John Fury said he named him after Mike Tyson. What can Mike Tyson bring to Francis's game to give him a chance against Fury?
I think just his experience of being an aggressive fighter. Like I mean, Francis, for him to land anything, he would have to be aggressive, right? And maybe he can pass on. I mean, Mike Tyson's always at the UFC fight, so I think he's gotten a bond with a lot of the fighters, and maybe he wants to help him out and give him a bit of advice and guidance with this fight that he has, biggest fight of his career.
Would it be unthinkable if Francis Ngannou pulled this off?
Far out. Listen, if Francis going to pull it off, I'll be like, what the heck? You know, like I don't know. You never know. Um, but if you look at Tyson, he's handled a lot of different styles in his career, and he's at the top for a reason. So you know he should be able to take care of business.
We know Tyson's obviously fought Deontay Wilder 3 times before. He hasn't fought Usyk, who's the unified heavyweight champion. He hasn't fought Anthony Joshua. In your opinion, if you put all those 3 fighters against Fury, which one gives Tyson the toughest fight?
Out of Usyk, Joshua,
Wilder.
and Wilder,
Well, we've seen what Wilder did, but Usyk, Joshua.
um, I would think. That's my opinion is that Usyk will probably give him a bit more, just because I'm not sure the angles and you know the movement and just being a bit quick on his feet. I think you'll give him a few more things to think about in the ring.
I mean, a lot of fans are disappointed that we didn't get to see Usyk, Fury, and I don't really want to go over that. But is it important for the sake of boxing, for the sake of heavyweight division? Usyk comes through next week, and we'll come on to that in a minute. And Fury beats Ngannou, which he should do. That undisputed fight has to happen for the sake of boxing.
It'd be nice to see. Yeah, I know. Listen, I've seen a lot of things in the media, and I'm close to Tyson, and we do a lot of training together. So the only thing that I could comment is that he was from this side, he was trying to make the fight happen, you know. And then it's been reported that he's, ran away from the deal and this and that. So I'm not quite sure what's happening, you know.
What's his mood like at the moment at the gym? I know he's not on social media as much. We saw his Netflix stuff come out the other week as well. But what's his mood and vibe like in the gym? Is he training like he would normally train, like he's fighting a proper boxer
Yeah,
heavyweight?
he's training very hard. He's got strength and conditioning sessions that he does with his coach. He's brought in George Lockhart to do his camp food, and he's organizing everything in terms of when boxing starts. So he is taking this very seriously. I think as a fighter, it doesn't matter who you fight, you take every fight seriously.
How does that fight end up?
Which one? Tyson.
Fury and Ngannou
Yeah, so Tyson does a job on him.
stops him.
Yeah, has the ability to stop him.
And
I'm
moving
always gonna be supporting Tyson. So it's quite unfair to ask me, but I think Tyson will stop him. Yeah.
moving to next week, Daniel Dubois dares to be great, takes on Alexander Usyk. What chances do you give Daniel? Obviously, a bit of a different style to Anthony Joshua. He's a bit more like Chisora, in your face, heavy hitter. Everyone in the heavyweight division punches hard, but what chances do you give him against Usyk?
I You know what? I think a lot of people are underestimating Dubois, but I do give him a big chance. In this fight, he's looking sharp. He's looking good. Don Charles, with the movement and he looks like he's punching very hard. So, he's I give him a big chance in this fight.
You give him a big chance, but can he do it?
It's all up to him. I mean, Usyk is one of those fighters who's very tricky to nail down or to lock down. And we've seen with many fights where his movement and his footwork and angles and punching from different directions. So just has to, just follow whatever his trainer is saying and follow the plan they put in place. And it's really all up to him to take care of business and get the win and be champion of the world if he can.
And just I forgot to mention, obviously, with Joshua now, he's fought HELENIUS, he got that win. Wilder Ruiz isn't going to happen. The WBC have kind of called off that fight now, so they're going to announce a new pairing in November, I believe. It looks like Joshua Wilder could be next. I mean, from a fan's perspective, of course, we're happy the fight could be happening next, but it was also disappointing when both of them were undefeated, when both had all the belts, and the fight could have happened a few years ago. But if that fight happened, let's say January, February, early next year, Joe, I know you fought Joshua, you haven't fought Wilder, but how do you see that fight playing out?
I think I've mentioned it before. Or I've said before that I feel Wilder will be on top in that fight. Even though they say his boxing ability isn't the best, You know, he's been doing a lot of good work with Malik, but he does have that knockout power that he carries with him. And you know, Joshua will have to be a lot more elusive in that fight, and you know, more movement and head movement. You know.
Okay, Joe, is there anything else you'd like to add or let us know before we conclude?
At the moment, nothing. I just want to lock in a fight and get to work. You know, as a fighter, train all you want, spar all you want, run all you want, do lift as many weights as you want, but nothing like fighting. So as soon as I lock in a fight, I'll be very happy and excited, and I'm looking forward to this next chapter, next phase of my career.
Have you ever thought about that Wilder fight? Now that the WBC have said that they're not calling that mandatory between Ruiz and Wilder, or Wilder and Ruiz, Wilder hasn't fought since Helenius last year, and that was at what, 1 round, and before that it was Fury. So he hasn't been active. If the Joshua fight doesn't happen, maybe that's a fight you could potentially explore down the line.
Guys, I don't care who I fight. I'll fight anyone. I'm just keen to get in the ring and fight. So if it's Wilder, if it's Joshua, even if it's White, if no one else wants to fight White because, or if he doesn't get banned, I'll love to fight anyone. Just want to get in the ring and fight. That's all I want to do.
Okay, Joe, appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate it's Sunday and it's a long week of training. So yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll definitely catch up face to face very soon.
Thank you very much.
Joe Parker for Boxing King Media. Thank you.